Hi, I'm Zoe Slavin, and you're listening to episode 55 of Who's on Top.
Who's on top? Tommy!
And welcome back to episode 55 of Who's on Top. I'm your host, Ori. It is March 22nd, 2021. And boy, do we have a fun baseball-themed episode for you today. You know, that baseball gets me pretty fired up. And speaking of baseball, doing his little dance, we got Daniel Fox.
Hey, how's it going? And happy Pesach.
Happy Pesach. It's going to be pretty excited soon. Next, we have the Frisbro in the TikTok room, Jacob Kasdan.
What's up, guys? Let's talk some sports.
Finally looking very upset over the Rutgers game. We'll talk about that a little bit. We got Ellis Gordon.
Just cups in the rose.
JV captain, stick to it. And finally, our special guest for today, a replacement for the always ebullient Jeremy Giles, the Corona Queen, Zoe Slavin.
Hey, guys.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's talk some baseball, and I'm going to throw it over to Daniel.
Nice baseball reference, my friend. The 2021 season is almost upon us. I'm excited. Everyone's excited about except Ori. So we're going to go a little division by division, talk about what we're expecting this baseball season. We'll start with the always interesting AL East, where we might have a little bias here. I would say a little bit. We're all huge Orioles fans. Last year, neither of our teams won the division. The Rays, 40-20, ran away with the AL East. The Yankees and the Blue Jays both made the playoffs, and the Red Sox.
Boston sucks.
Yeah, thanks, Jacob. The Red Sox finished in dead last. This division, they made some moves this offseason. Blake Snell was traded from the Rays to the Padres. George Springer signed with the Blue Jays. And the Yankees brought back DJ LeMahieu and signed Corey Kluber and traded for Jameson Taillon. So I'll start with our guest, Zoe Brooks Slavin. What are you expecting out of the AL East this year?
Not to be a biased Yankees fan, but I'm almost positive that the Yankees are going to come in first. Like Dan said, they've only bettered their lineup, and obviously it was a little difficult to see last season in the shortened 2020 season, but in 2019 the team was plagued with injuries, and a World Series caliber team was kind of shot down because every single person got hurt. They set a record for the most people on the injured list, and if guys like Judge, Stanton, Sanchez specifically can stay healthy and they perform how they do when they're healthy and they can stay actively playing the entire season, I think we have a fantastic shot. As far as the rest of the division, the Rays and the Blue Jays are always good competition. The Blue Jays, especially this year, with guys like Vlad, like young guys coming up a few years ago that really, really are going to have their time to shine. And then the Orioles and the Red Sox the past few years, the Orioles consistently not so good, the Red Sox not so much, but with Boston losing a lot of their good players and the Orioles not necessarily doing much to bolster their lineup or their rotation, it's safe to say that they're going to be towards the bottom.
Yeah, I don't know. I think as a betting favorite, you have to pick the Yankees considering the collection of talent on the team. But, Zach Britton's already out. Is this going to be one of those Yankee seasons again?
Justin Wilson also potentially might be out.
No, that would be terrible for them.
But I think there is some competition from Tampa Bay, who always just seems to be weirdly in it, despite them trading they traded Blake Snell away. But at this point, you kind of got to trust the process with Tampa Bay and what they're doing. The Rays and Toronto is looking there. That's a formidable hitting core. I don't think the best pitching, but the hitting core is definitely there. So Yankees definitely got some competition. Boston, I think, is not great, but they're not bad. They're a fine team. And Baltimore is little rebuilding. So this is going to be a tight division. But as a betting favorite, I got to say the Yankees. But I wouldn't be surprised if Toronto or the Rays win it either.
Yeah, I would totally agree with both what Ellis and Zoe have said so far. I would take the Yankees to be the favorites. I think he's always said it the best. If they can stay healthy, should be in the World Series. Exactly. If
Big
they stay
if.
healthy. Yes, big if for sure. But I don't know. I really like Toronto this year. I don't see them winning the division, but I do like them a lot coming out of this. Not coming out of this division, but for a wild card. Ellis said it. Their hitting is absolutely disgusting. They have Bo Bichette. They've got Vladdy Daddy. They've got a lot of young stars. They've got Kevon Biggio. They got Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Their pitching is pretty bad, but
Can we appreciate the way Jacob says Vladdy Daddy? It just rolls
Daddy.
off the tongue.
He knows what he's
hesitate.
saying. He's
Knows what he's
practiced it in the
saying.
mirror.
it wasn't the
Yeah.
first time Ellis has heard me call him that. But
Not the first time any of us have heard you call him that.
this is true. But yeah, I'm seeing the Yankees in Toronto on top, followed up by Tampa, then Boston, and then Baltimore, with probably about 40 wins, which would be pretty good for them.
Yeah, I'm going to make it a clean sweep. I think the Yankees are going to win this division by about 8 games. And look, I forgot who said it, but the Rays, I think it was Ellis, they always seem to be good, even if they trade away all their good players. They trade away Blake Snell, they lose Charlie Morton, but they're going to find a way to win baseball games. And the Blue Jays, 1 through 9, they just hit the baseball hard. There's no weakness in this lineup, but their rotation just isn't strong enough. They're going in with really Nate Pearson as their number 2 starter, who really struggled last year. Let me tell you guys, the Red Sox are going to play some competitive baseball. All right, they've been playing well this spring. Bobby Dahlbeck, remember the name. He might hit 40 bombs. They will play competitive baseball. But let's move on to the AL Central. Last year, it was the closest division in baseball. The Twins, Indians, and White Sox all won more than 35 games, all made the playoffs, but each got eliminated in the first round. This offseason, the White Sox went out. They got Lance Lynn, Liam Hendricks, one of the best closers in baseball. The Indians, of course, got worse by trading Francisco Lindor, and the Twins really didn't do anything. And at the bottom, of course, you got the Royals, who actually had a good offseason, getting Carlos Santana, Andrew Benintendi, some others,
Resign Salvador Perez.
Yeah, some other okay pieces, and then the Tigers.
Not much to say
they're
there.
just the Tigers.
Hold up.
All right, Ori, you want to?
They got some prospects. They got some prospects.
We have one of the best prospect farms in the league right now. We're doing very well in that regard.
Name one prospect.
Miguel Cabrera Jr. I have
Ori.
Casey Mize. I know one. Casey.
So this time,
no, hold up. I have to tell you, Detroit's actually going to get relegated to the minor leagues this season.
Yeah.
And we're going to win every single game. I'm
You're gonna
telling
have
you,
so much fun there.
it's going to be so much
we'll
fun.
see we'll see if you
up.
play 500 ball.
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll start with old LEG this time. What are you looking for? What's catching your eye in the AL Central?
So in the AL Central, yeah, I think this is a 2-horse race right now. Detroit is Detroit, but they got some prospects. I think they can have a future potentially, but not this year. Kansas City and Cleveland, kind of the same category for me. I don't feel like talking about their moves, but the category they're in is they're not bad. They're also not good. They're just there. And the Twins and the White Sox. I mean, you got to pick the White Sox here. I mean, Tony La Russa comes in. I mean, that man's old. That means they're in win round now mode. I mean, he comes back from retirement for 9, 10 years, something like that. Man's a fossil, so he wants to win now. And they got the talent to do it. Jose Abreu, Luis Robert. I don't know if I pronounced that right.
Yeah, me neither, actually.
It is Robert.
Lucas Giolito. I'm so bad.
Giolito.
Okay. Well, anyway, I think this is the clear favorite, but don't forget about the Twins, who, besides their mishaps in the postseason, because we all well documented mishaps, they produce good regular season teams. They got fine pitching, and their hitting is going to be good. So I think the Twins are a second, but watch out for those Twins.
Yeah, similar to Ellis, I do think this is a 2-team race. I've also got the White Sox at the top. I'm in love with this team. I love the youth. I love the star power. I love Luis Robert. I love Yohan Moncada. I like Eloy a lot, Eloy Jimenez. I love their young prospects. They've done a great job of building that up. Their pitching is pretty good. Their bullpen, as Dan said, they bolstered up the back end of their bullpen with Liam Hendricks, one of the best closers in the league. And people forget that they're not talking about Jose Abreu, MVP last season.
Mm-hmm.
Had a great year, led the league in RBI, I think in 52 RBI or something like that, which is absolutely insane. And this White Sox team come the postseason, they're scary for sure.
I got it. Okay, so I feel like with the AL Central, it's always a lot easier to say, you know, that the Tigers are going to come in dead last every single year because it's always a tight division. And I think that I'm going to go along with the other guys here and say that I have a feeling that the White Sox are going to pull ahead and win a lot more games than they have in past years. Obviously, like last year is an exception with the shortened season, but like they really, really bolstered their pitching with guys like Lance Lynn, who are veterans, who have bounced around a lot and seem to have been consistently really good. And guys like what's name? Liam Hendricks. I keep getting him confused with Kyle Hendricks because they have almost the exact same name. But Liam Hendricks is a great reliever, one of the best in baseball. And I think right behind them is going to be the Twins. And then with Kansas City and Cleveland kind of sitting in the middle there, not doing much. Cleveland traded away like a lot of their good guys this offseason, and they're not going to probably do much this year, but they'll be competitors as opposed to the beloved Detroit Tigers.
Yeah. Just to go to Cleveland, I mean, we all said, basically everyone talked about the White Sox and how good they're going to be. Just to go to the Indians real quick, there with the trading of Francisco Lindor, it's pretty much Jose Ramirez, Franmil Reyes, and then nobody else in that lineup can hit. And in this division, you cannot win baseball games if you only have two good hitters, despite how good their pitching is. And they lost Brad Hand too. Yeah, so I'm going to agree with you guys. I think the White Sox win the division. I think the Twins contend for a wild card spot. I mean, they had some guys like the German machine, Max Kepler, struggle last year.
Sorry, I'm going to have to do it for Alex Glynn. Max Kepler.
Struggle last year. Mitch Garver had a really down season, but so we'll see if they bounce back, but they're still a really good team. So let's move on to the AL West, which was won by the Oakland Athletics last year, who finished 12 games over 500. But they, of course, lost Marcus Simion and Liam Hendricks this offseason. The Astros had a losing record, but came one game away from the World Series. Then you've got the Angels, who I think they've really improved this offseason. And we could talk about this, but they've really improved this offseason. So yeah, the Angels have upgraded their pitching. They got Alex Cobb and Jose Quintana. Otani's coming back. And of course, always got Mike Trout and Anthony Rendon. So I think they'll play competitive baseball. I think the Rangers are a mess. They pretty much just threw in the towel when they traded Lance Lynn. And the Mariners actually weren't even that bad last year. They have Kyle Lewis, the rookie of the year, but I don't think they're going to contend. So it's really just three teams who are going to really have a shot at winning this division. But this is the closest division. I don't think we're going to have a consensus here. I'll start with Zoe again. Who are you looking at in the AL West?
I'm going to sound incredibly biased, and that is very true. But I fully believe that the A's are going to win the AL West. Not only is this because I strongly dislike Houston for obvious reasons, but I also think that Houston is past its prime. I think that last year, even the shortened season with a losing record, even if it was only by 2 games, they're slowly but surely winding down, and they've traded away some guys like George Springer, who were there when they were really, really, really in their prime. And the Oakland A's have never not played good baseball. They're the Moneyball guys. They're always contending no matter what, no matter how much money they have, because they figure out ways to sign guys that might not appeal to everybody else, but they end up turning out to be stars. And that's been happening for the past like 20 years. And because of that, I think the A's are going to take it this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree there. I'm gonna go Astros, though. I don't know. I'm torn. Like, I am torn. As Fox said, this is tightly contested. Seattle, Texas, who cares? The Mariners and the Rangers, like, yeah, who cares about them? The Angels are an interesting pick. I don't think they have any good relievers. And Mickey Callaway, the whole thing with him, that's definitely not. That doesn't help moving into spring. Also, just not a good look for the organization. But I want the Angels because I like Mike Trout and I believe he should get a shot at winning a ring. But I don't know. I'm not convinced on the Angels. Something tells me no. But now so that leaves Astros and the A's, and the A's just lost some big pieces. I mean, yes, so he said Moneyball, but I think this Astros team when it comes down to it, yes, they're aging, yes, they're getting worse, but they're still a little better than the A's roster wise. They lost George Springer, that is true, but they got Carlos Correa, Jose Altuve, so they got Jordan Alvarez. He's a really good, and their pitching staff isn't even all that bad. They have Zach Greinke, who's still a very good pitcher. Yeah, I just think this team is solid. I think then again they're one of the most hated teams, so that could hurt them. I think morale wise. But I just think this team's better than the A's roster construction wise, I guess. And I know that might hurt me because the A's, they play Moneyball, but I'm just gonna go with my gut here. I think Astros.
I'm gonna hop on here and say that Seattle actually pulls ahead. I'm gonna name 3 guys on Seattle because I actually like these 3 guys. James Paxton, who has nasty, nasty, nasty pitches. Kyle Lewis, Kyle Seager, and I'm gonna go 4th because I love it. Mitch Haniger.
Mitch Haniger.
It's a good thing you went
Haniger-
4th
I
because
knew you
you're
were gonna
first.
say Mitch Haniger.
Oh wait, no,
Mitch-
Paxton is back on the Mariners.
He is in
Yeah.
the Mariners.
Oh, I'm
I
stupid.
knew you were gonna say Mitch Haniger.
Mitch Haniger is an absolute god. And I think that honestly, this Seattle lineup reminds me of the Rays lineup because they're scrappy, they know how to play, and watch them come through. So I'm gonna have Seattle at least finishing 3rd above either the Angels or Houston. We'll see. I think Oakland's gonna win the division again.
I real quick want to hop back onto Ellis's point and more defend the A's by racking Houston real quick, because what I meant to I forgot about this. Houston never served its punishment. Houston didn't have fans booing them the entire year. Houston didn't have to play a full season. Houston got away with so much that they would have gotten so much crap for in the 2020 season if it were to play out normally. And because of that, I think that enemies of Houston, which is now a lot of baseball organization, is going to come back with vengeance, and they're going to be ruthless and mean, and fans are going to be brutal. And any game that's not a home game is going to be absolutely torture for the Astros. Not only that, but all their guys are getting older. And like we saw last year, like Altuve's batting average, not anywhere close to what it was when they won the World Series. It kept diminishing as soon as they found out that the Astros were cheating. Not a single guy was hitting as well as they were before that. Just saying.
Yeah, I'll go next, and then I'll pass it over to Danny.
Mm.
This is a tricky.
Oh
division.
yeah. For
It's a
those of
tricky
you
one. It's a tricky
drinking
one,
at
Mr.
home,
Bernard.
why don't you go
Bingo.
ahead and take a shot?
Bingo.
Because Jacob said tricky.
It's a tough division for me to choose. Obviously, I would hate to see Houston win. As though I said, this punishment is going to be brutal for them. I think they're going to get it. But I also really do like the Angels team. I love Trout. I love Ohtani. And I think they don't have a lot of depth, but they've got a lot of star power, Rendon as well. But I do think Oakland is going to win this division. And they know what they're doing. They've got good youth. They've got good veterans. They've got a decent pitching staff. They got an okay bullpen, kind of lackluster back of the bullpen. But they got good fielders. They know what they're doing, and they've been in this position before. And I think we're going to see the A's repeat as division champions.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we all want to see the Angels, Mike Trout be in the playoffs, and they do have a good team. They really do. I really like what they've done with the rotation, getting Quintana, and then Ohtani's back to go on with Heaney and Griffin Canning. But they're asking Dexter Fowler to start and right, and he cannot. Dexter Fowler's not a major league outfielder anymore, and they're asking Albert Pujols to give them play first base. So I just can't pick them. And then the Astros, I think they'll still be great offensively, especially with Yordan Alvarez coming back, but they just don't have the pitching. You're going in with a 7-year-old Zach Greinke, Lance McCullers, who has dealt with injuries, and then Jake Odorizzi, who barely pitched last year. And then that's only the first 3. Then you got more question marks in the back end. So I'm going to go with the Oakland Athletics. I like what they did this offseason. They lost Hendricks, but they got Trevor Rosenthal. They lost Simion, but they got Elvis Andrews. So I think they'll be able to play the same level of baseball that they did earlier in the season, last year. So let's move on to, in my opinion, the most interesting division in baseball, and that would be the NL East. Last year, you might forget, but the Marlins made it to the playoffs and won a playoff series for the first time since 2003. But the team that won the division was the Atlanta Braves. They won 35-25, and they're 1 game away from the World Series. But you can't forget about the 3 teams at the bottom, the Philadelphia Phillies. Last year was kind of their year. Second year of the Bryce Harper experiment. They went out and got Zach Wheeler, but they really disappointed. And at the bottom were the defending champion Nationals, who really struggled with Rendon, and Soto was out the first 10 games. But the team I want to talk about, and I'll kick it over to I'll kick it over to Jacob to tell me about the New York Mets. Francisco Lindor, Trevor May, Carlos Carrasco, Taijuan Walker. I don't see how this team doesn't win 95 plus games.
Yeah, this, as Daniel said, this division is going to be very, very good this year. Personally, it's got to be between the Braves and the Mets for me, but I could totally see the Phillies, and honestly, I could see all 5 of these teams potentially winning this division. With if Washington's pitching stays healthy and Soto's as good as we expect him to be. But yeah, about the Mets, they traded for Lindor from the Indians. They got Trevor May, great relief pitcher and Twitch streamer from the Twins. They got Taijuan Walker from the Diamondbacks, I believe. Right, Daniel?
For the Blue Jays.
Blue Jays. He wasn't the Diamondbacks. Yeah, Taijuan Walker from the Blue Jays. And their rotation is healthy. DeGrom's looking like a top 2 pitcher in baseball at the moment. Top 1, I would say. Top 1 pitcher in baseball. And Syndergaard to stay healthy. Stroman looking to have a good year. Their bullpen is amped up. It's looking good from the front and the back end. And this lineup, this hitting lineup, it is scary. Lindor, Alonso. They've got a lot of people. They got Conforto. He can hit for average. They got people that can hit for power. They've got speed. They've got a lot of everything. But I do think this Braves team is going to be really tough for this Mets team, and I think it's going to be between like 3 games to the top of the division between the Mets and the Braves. But I have the Braves win the division.
This is my favorite division. Well, actually, let me ask before I go into my little spiel. Foxy, you asked me how the Mets can't win 95 games because they're the Mets, and the Mets are the Mets.
It's a new era, baby.
But yes, but I think this talent-wise, Jacob discussed it all, so I'm not going to harp on that. I think they're the favorites. Let me start off with that. Know why I love this division? Can anyone guess? Because it's Baby Jesus time.
Baby Jesus.
He's back. The first Who's on Top nickname and the one that holds dearest to my heart. Baby fucking Jesus is back. That said, I'm not predicting good things for Baby Jesus' team. Carter Cureborn has not. Oh, so nice. So nice. Carter Cureborn has not had a good spring.
Keyboom.
Cureborn?
I don't know baseball names. Carter Keyboom has not had a good spring. I just, they have Scherzer still. But I'm not predicting good things for this Nationals team. I think they missed the playoffs despite Juan Soto, Baby Jesus, putting up godlike numbers as Baby Jesus does. Mets, I think, are the favorites. Philadelphia, good team. I think they actually will sneak into a wild card spot. I think I could totally see that. Miami, I like what they're doing. I like what Jeter's doing. They're very scrappy. This isn't a
give some respect to Kim, please.
Oh,
what
you
Gotta respect him.
I'm actually sorry. I'm actually that actually really, you're right. Kim Ang, respect to her too. I was just referencing the Yankee and me, Derek Jeter. But all respect to her. This Miami team is scrappy. That said, they barely miss out. I just still not think they have the pieces yet to make a run in a not COVID shortened season. And we got the Braves, who I think are like the favorites with the Mets, slightly below the Mets. I think they got some questions in the pitching department. So I'm gonna give it to the Mets for all the Mets fans. But listen, the Mets are always going to Met, and as Jeremy once famously said, the most important thing about the Mets Stadium is the U.S. Open, and until they make the playoffs, that's how it's going to be. So prove me wrong, Mets, but I am predicting the Mets. But this is a good division.
I want the Mets to prove me wrong when I say Mets are going to Met, because I think it's going to end up being between the Braves and the Mets. Both teams have so much talent, and this entire division is full of talent. But these two teams really, really are excelling in all areas. And obviously the guys have already touched on the players. I do want to take a second to say that I really, really wish the best to the Miami Marlins. Like Ellis said, they're scrappy. I don't think they're going to get all the way there yet. They did make the playoffs last year. They won playoff games, which is very impressive. And now they have Kim Ang, who is my personal role model, and I love her so much. And I cannot wait to see what she does with this team. So I'm very excited to watch this division this year, if not for watching the Mets either succeed immensely or fail terribly, just to watch the Marlins play.
Yeah. I'm excited for the Marlins, but I think they're going to finish in last place pretty easily. And then sorry, Zoe. And the Nationals, they have too many question marks with their rotation. Strasburg, Scherzer, Corbin struggled last year and not enough help around Juan Soto. I think the Phillies are super interesting, but they're giving too many at bats to guys like Scott Kingery and Gene Segura and just Adam Hazley to really, I mean, you need to be absolutely stacked to win this division when you talk about the Braves and the Mets. And I'm giving the slight edge to the Mets just because I don't think there's a weakness on this team. I do think the Braves are a little weak in the bullpen, and the Mets going out and getting Trevor May to add to an already strong bullpen. That's huge. And I think that's going to make the difference in the division. So I think the Mets are going to win about 98 games and the Braves are going to win 95. And if it wasn't for the two teams we'll talk about in the NL West, I think these teams would be meeting in the playoffs. Also, I just want to say, I think you can make a strong argument. 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 6 of the best teams in baseball are in the NL.
100%. I actually was thinking about that. I was thinking about that yesterday. How weirdly, feeling like basketball, how weirdly stacked it is. But hey, don't discount baby Jesus carrying this team. Let's move on.
Okay, we'll talk about MVPs later. I have a feeling where you're going to go. So let's move on to the NL Central. The only division in the history of baseball that featured 4 playoff teams. You had the Cubs, who traded Yu Darvish at the end of the season, but they won 34 games, won the division by 4, though they lost to the Marlins in the first round of the playoffs. The Cardinals making one of the biggest moves, getting Nolan Arenado. The Reds lost Trevor Bauer, and the Brewers brought in Jackie Bradley Jr., but really not too much to be excited about there. And the Pirates, I think we could all agree, are the worst team in baseball. Unfortunately for them, they trade away Joe Musgrove and Josh Bell. So I'll go first this time. I think the Cardinals are going to win the division. I think they went to the NLCS 2 years ago. They made the playoffs last year, and hats off to them with all they dealt with last year. 2 weeks being canceled to make the playoffs. Hats off to them. I think getting Arenado and Goldschmidt. I mean, we sort of forget about Goldschmidt. He's still a really good player. So I think they're going to win the division. I'm a little worried about the Cubs. They just feel like they're free falling right now. And I could see some big names such as Chris Bryant being traded at the deadline. I don't like the Reds offense, and losing Trevor Bauer hurts. And I really like the Brewers. I think they're pretty Christian Yelich, Josh Hader or bust. So that's what I'm thinking in the NL West. But Ellis, NL Central. But Ellis, what are you thinking?
Clear Cardinals. I mean, when you add a player like Nolan Arenado, a motivated Nolan Arenado, they're going to win the division. I'm not sure how far they'll get past that, but they'll win the division. The rest of the teams they're all range from bad to bad. So I mean, I think this is the Cardinals are the only clear favorite.
Yeah, I totally agree with both Dan and Ellis here. With this Cardinals team, they're only 4 games back from the Cubs. Cubs got worse. Cardinals got a lot better, signing one of the best defensive players in baseball and a great hitter, Nolan Arenado, to play that hot corner and third base. So give me the Cardinals.
I got to agree. And I like what Jacob said, that the Cubs just got worse and the Cards got better. Not only did they get better, but they signed Nolan Arenado. And I think besides the Cardinals and the Cubs too, every other team in this division has 2 guys that really like push them forward. And if those guys are not on their game, then they're not on their game.
So that's the NL Central. And let's go over to arguably the 2 best teams in baseball, the Dodgers and the Padres. But I'll run through the 3 teams. Rocky's got a lot of slack for trading Nolan Arenado. That's how you say things, right? Got a lot of slack.
Yes.
Yeah. For trading Nolan Arenado and the comments.
I think you mean flack.
It's flack, not slack.
That's what I thought. They got a lot of flack for trading Nolan Arenado and the comments they made afterwards. It's pretty much Trevor Story, Herman Marquez, and nobody else. Diamondbacks coming off a last place finish. Nothing really to get excited about there. Zach Gallen's a good player. And the Giants played some competitive baseball, but they didn't really add anything this offseason.
I just want to say real quick on these 2. I find the Giants and the Diamondbacks very weird because they can't choose whether they're rebuilding or contending. So they're really stuck in this weird middle zone, and they can't compete with the Padres or the Dodgers, who are they're contending.
Yeah, that's a good point. Neither of those 2 teams really. The Giants have an okay farm system, but they both, they're going to have there's tough roads ahead. But let's talk about who everyone wants to talk about, the Dodgers and the Padres. The Padres came out swaining this offseason, getting Yu Darvish, getting Blake Snell, getting Joe Musgrove. To go on with one of the best offensives in baseball. They now 1 through 5, although Dinelson Lamet is going to be out for a little while. 1 through 5, they are absolutely as good as anybody in the in the rotation. So through January, we were like, okay, can the Padres win this? They played the Dodgers tough last season, but then the Dodgers went out and they got Trevor Bauer. And don't forget, they're also getting David Price back. So these, in my opinion, are the two best teams in baseball. So we'll just go one by one. Who are you picking to win this division and why? We'll start with Zoe.
I'm gonna have to say the Dodgers. Like Dan just mentioned, pitching looks unbelievable, or it should look unbelievable. They really, really are, like, they waited so long for that World Series win, and they're just getting better from here. They've come off of that and are only getting stronger. The Padres, with Tatis and Machado and who all these other guys, they've got strong pitching, they've got strong bats, but I think it's going to be like a 2-game difference, and I think the Dodgers are going to pull ahead.
Yeah, I fully agree with Zoe. I think the Dodgers, until the Dodgers show me that they're not going to win the division, I'm not going to pick against them. Kershaw is still pitching like an ace. And no, he doesn't get the wins that he's used to, but he had a 2.16 ERA last year, which is very, very impressive. And come postseason, we'll see what happens with him. No one knows what's going to happen with him in the postseason. But yeah, this Dodgers team is very, very good, as is the Padres. Padres may have had a better offseason, bringing in Snell and Darvish and reamping their rotation. But I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I like Tatis, but he's not all that. He's a special player. He's great. He's not the best player in baseball. He's not the best shortstop in baseball. And personally, I also think Manny Machado is very, very overhyped. Obviously, he's a great fielder. His hitting is not the greatest. And to me, this Dodgers team that has much, much more star power on the hitting side, and the pitching is pretty equivalent to me. I guess because obviously brought in Trevor Bauer.
Put some respect on the Padres' name with their pitching. I mean, you're talking about Dodgers pitching. Let's talk about Mike Clevenger. Let's talk about Chris Paddock, who had a bit of an offseason last year, but he'll come back, I believe. Joe Musgrove, middle rotation guy. Dinelson Lamet, star. Yu Darvish, ace. Blake Snell, ace. They got 3 aces. They got a bunch of good pitchers to supplement. And they got Fernando Tatis Jr., who is a special player. Also, they got Kim Ha-sung, who was a great
He's
prospect.
special. I'm not saying he's not special. I'm just saying he's not the best.
Okay, fine. So they got Kim Ha-sung. I'm really sorry if I mispronounced that, but coming out of Japan, a good prospect. And I really just think this Padres team is coming out hungry. They did this for one reason and one reason alone, to beat the Dodgers. I think Trevor Bauer has a down year. I just think Trevor Bauer has a down year. I think this Dodgers team will be really, really good, and they'll face off probably, heavyweight contender sometime in the playoffs to see who wins the World Series. But I mean, Eric Hosmer, they got Profar, who's fast. Trent Grisham, who had a good season last year. Tommy Pham. Sorry, and I'm just kind of like listing names, but like, I really just think this Padres team. I just like this Padres team. They're feisty. I think they want it more. I know that's really silly to say, but they want it more.
Yeah. One thing I'm thinking about the Padres, when Ellis was doing such a great job running through all those names and reminding us about the roster. These are a lot of guys who had career years last year. Eric Hosmer really struggled his first 2 years in a Padres uniform and had a good 60-game stint last year. Manny Machado had the best 60-game stint of his career. Will Myers had a great 60-game stint. Can they repeat this? We know the Dodgers can repeat that. And even if they don't, Ellis, you said, what if Trevor Bauer's going to have a bad year? Okay, they got Julio Urias. They got Dustin May. They got David Price. It doesn't matter because they have so much depth. And I think the big difference between these two teams is the bullpen. Kenley Jansen has been throwing the ball amazing this spring training. I think that's the difference in the NL West. So real quickly, before we move on to football, because I see Ori dozing off a little bit, give me your MVPs in both leagues and your World Series matchup. So we will start with Ellis.
World Series. I picked the Padres. I hear the analytics. I hear the people who know baseball more than me saying this can't happen, or it can't happen, but it's unlikely because they'd have to have all career year wins. But I'm getting good vibes from the Padres. I'm taking a vibe check, and I'm taking the Padres to win it all. With either face, but the Yankees and Dodgers. The Dodgers, I would not be shocked. MVP. Luis Robert has got to be up there. There's some good MVPs. You know what? I guess I've been repping him since day one as the baby Jesus, and I think I got to continue repping him because I don't know if his team will do great, but I think he'll have a career year, and I think he wins the MVP. But I think Tatis, you got a lot of MVP candidates. It won't be easy for him, but Jesus always prevails, as the Bible taught us. So I mean, baby Jesus.
Ellis, do your AL as well.
Oh, AL MVP. Oh Lord. Give me Aaron Judge only purely because I'm a Yankees fan. Only purely because I'm a Yankees fan.
Yeah, I'll go next.
Or Luis Robert.
All right, I'll go next. With the NL, I'm gonna take Mookie Betts on the Dodgers. I think Soto's a close second, and then Tatis. But for the AL is interesting. Obviously, we know Trout is always a front runner for MVP, but I do see a case where Judge stays healthy and could possibly get MVP. I do see a case for Jose Ramirez as well.
Mind you, we said this last year about Aaron Judge.
Yes, but I think it is going to end up being Mike Trout, and I do think Judge has a chance to be up there, but I think Trout's going to take it home yet again.
All right. I'm going to sound like a broken record, and Dan might roll his eyes at me, even after Ellis and Jacob just said it. But I see Aaron Judge as AL MVP, hands down. If and only if.
I said Mike Trout.
Whatever. You mentioned Judge. If and only if he can stay healthy. I think that if this man does not miss a game due to injury, he will have a record-breaking season, and I stand by that.
I have a better chance of not missing a game. Well, I guess I don't play baseball, but
yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Anyway, with that being said, once again, if and only if this Yankees lineup can stay healthy, I see Yankees-Dodgers World Series. I think that the Dodgers might take it again. And with that being said, I also see Mookie Betts as NL MVP.
Glad to see you kept your bias out of your picks.
Dodgers is also my World Series pick.
All right, let me clean things up a little bit. My NL MVP is the man I drafted second in fantasy, and it's Ronald Acuna Jr. We talk about WAR, we talk about like WOBA. Just give me home runs and steals. Acuna's going to go 40-40 this year. It's about time he wins, and I love baby Jesus. I think he's going to have a historic offensive season. In the AL, I mean, I feel like it's just Mike Trout. I'm going to give you two names, two sleepers, if you will, not Luis Robert because Ellis picked that, but Matt Chapman, the best defensive third baseman in baseball, who's also going to hit 30+ home runs, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Year 3, show me something, Vladito. I know you got the wagon ass, but can you hit some bombs? Okay. He hits the ball so hard, but he hits it on the ground. If he learns to elevate, he's a special hitter. My World Series matchup is I'm going to have the White Sox coming out of the AL because I think the Yankees have no idea what a World Series even is. So I don't know how they're going to get there. I have the White Sox coming out of the Central, out of the AL. I think they're just
2-7.
And I have bias in my opinions.
I think they're just a more complete team. I'm actually being honest. I think they've got 3 pitchers who they can really depend on. And I think they have a more complete lineup. And I think they have the best closer in baseball. Out of the NL, I'm going to surprise. I picked the Dodgers to win the West. But I'm going to pick they're not going to make it out of the first round. I think year after year, it's going to tax them. These are veteran players. I know that it was only 60 games last year, but it's just a mental tax to go to the postseason every year. I think they got their World Series. I think, as Ellis likes to say, the Padres and the Mets are hungrier. That's my NLCS. That's going to be an all-time classic. But give me the Mets. Give me the Mets. I'm all in. This is a complete team. They got the bullpen. They got the rotation. Mets, White Sox, World Series. So that
I'll
was
give you
the
$5 if that's right.
Awesome. So that was our MLB preview. Thank you so much to the incomparable Zoe Brooks Slavin for joining us. Looking forward to some baseball. Looking forward to getting that Aaron Judge 15-day DL notification on my phone. Always looking forward to that. Yeah. Anybody got any final thoughts on the baseball season? Yeah.
One last thing. I'm gonna give a little shout out to my friend Daniel Fox. I got a lot of respect for this kid when it comes to baseball. And obviously, I know he hates the Yankees so much, but he is an analyst before a fan. And I have a lot of respect for that.
Red Sox winning 100 games this year.
So thanks for baseball. I think it's actually gonna be a great season. We all drafted a fantasy baseball team, which we're very excited about. So I'm actually kind of invested this season. But I end up winning or coming in second place every season. Jacob and I always share the title.
Sorry.
No, I gave him second place last year for the
I
first
won,
time.
and I won.
Okay,
So
well, I'm just saying.
Jacob and I almost
Oh,
always share the
all right.
title. So well done.
I'm not
Uh,
going easy anymore.
Okay. I drafted some big names like Kirby Yates, who's out for the season. So that's gonna be really fun.
Wait, you did?
Yeah, I drafted Kirby Yates, and he gets
Dumbass.
injured. Yeah, well, I thought he was gonna be okay, but he isn't. Anyway, I'm just gonna plug my team here for a little. Rendon, Trey Turner, Mondesi, Blackman. We got a lot of speed on my team, but unfortunately, we're not playing head to head this year. So I kind of made a little mistake there because I thought I'd win steals every week, but yeah, that's not gonna happen.